Some roads are not meant to be traveled. Some towns are not meant to be visited. And some souls are not meant to be saved. This is the sworn testimony of a woman from the Blue Ridge Mountains. She learned that not all evil wanders. Some of it settles. It puts down roots. It waits. And when it's forced to move, it follows. Family, this is the Dread Codex. Gather close. Turn off the lights. The story begins now. My name is Amelia Hartley. I don't look in mirrors after sunset anymore. I don't trust the sound of my own breathing in the dark. Let me tell you why. In the winter of 2019, I went home to Briar's Hollow, North Carolina. My sister Chloe was coming to visit with her new husband, Daniel. They were driving from Knoxville. Chloe was light. She was the one who got out, made it to a city, found love, lived beyond these shadow-draped, tree-choked hills. Her visits were pure joy. This time, the joy ended at the county line. They arrived just after dawn, headlights cutting through the mountain fog. I ran out, but when Chloe stepped from the car, the cold didn't just cling to the air. It clung to her. Her smile was a ghost. Her skin, the color of old paper. Her eyes, once bright hazel, now flat, dull, like tarnished pennies. She looked at our porch, at our mother's open arms, like she was studying a museum display. Daniel pulled me aside. His voice was shaking. Amelia, I don't, she was singing. An hour ago. We stopped at a rest area outside Boone. Just for a minute. She walked toward the tree line. Came back and she was this. We made excuses. Long drive. Mountain sickness. We sat her by the fire. She didn't shiver. She stared into the flames, like she was reading something in the embers. Then the whispering started. Not from her. Around her. A low, wet sound, like mud shifting in a creek bed. It stopped the second you turned your head. My mother, a devout woman, quietly laid her worn Bible on the coffee table. By afternoon, Chloe began to hum. A hymn from the little white church down in the hollow, What a Friend We Have in Jesus. But the words, when they finally left her lips, were wrong. Guttural. Reversed. In suffering, no friend. In darkness, Jesus sleeps, the temperature dropped. Our breath fogged the air. I saw my mother's knuckles whiten around her rosary. This wasn't fatigue. This was an infestation. At dusk, the house began to react. The grandfather clock in the hall, silent for years, started to tick. A slow, heavy tock, tock, tock. Then, at exactly 6 p.m., it chimed. Once. A sound so final, it felt like a nail being driven into a coffin. Chloe's head snapped toward it, and she began to weep. Not a human cry. A raw, scraping sound of pure desolation. And from her mouth, in a voice deep, rasping, and utterly male, came words. Not English. Something older. A language of stones and river mud. My father went pale. He whispered, "That's not speech. That's place. That's the sound these hills had before we ever named them." Panic, cold and sharp. My mother rushed in with holy water and a silver cross. She flicked a drop onto Chloe's forehead. It sizzled. A wisp of smoke rose from a blistering red mark. Chloe, or the thing inside her, screamed. The sound shattered the remaining glass in the clock face. Then she collapsed, unconscious. We carried her to bed. The dread that followed was alive. We huddled in the parlor as full night took the hollow. That's when the scratching started. Not at the door. At the walls. From the inside. Long, slow drags, like untrimmed nails, moving from the ceiling down to the floor. Room to room. A phantom pacing the bones of our home. My father followed the sound with his rifle. He came back white-faced. "Nothing outside," he whispered. "But the scratching, it's on the other side of the wall now." Keeping pace with me, the clock chimed again. Midnight. On the 12th strike, Chloe's eyes flew open. She sat up, back straight as a rod, and then she ran, not for the door, for the wall. She hit it with such force the drywall cracked, and she began to climb, arms and legs moving with a horrible simian grace, scurrying up toward the ceiling corner. Her head twisted completely around, staring down at us with flat, empty eyes. It took my father and Daniel both to pull her down. She fought with silent, terrible strength. Her skin was ice. The local doctor came and left, muttering about psychosis. We knew better. We called Reverend Miller. He arrived in a thin, gray rain. A kind man. Simple faith. He laid hands on Chloe, prayed for deliverance. The thing inside her smiled, and quoted scripture back to him, from Job and Lamentations, but twisted. "The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the hunger." The Reverend stumbled back. "This isn't a wandering spirit," he said, trembling. "This is attached to a place." "Where did you stop?" Daniel, crying, told him. "The Turner's Pass rest area. Mile marker 77. A lonely concrete block built over a creek." Reverend Miller went pale. Turner's Creek wasn't always a creek. Before the dam in 48, it was a burial hollow. Paupers. Suicides. The unnamed. They moved the graves, they said. All of them. But some things don't like to be moved. They fester. They hitch rides. He began an exorcism. A slow, arduous struggle of prayer and command. Chloe contorted. The male voice raged. At the climax, as the cross touched her forehead, every mirror in the house showed the same thing, a narrow, weed-choked pit. Dark, still water. Then silence. Chloe slept. Color slowly returned to her cheeks. We thought it was over. We were wrong. The entity didn't leave. It was evicted from its host, and it moved into the house. Into the hollow. The next week, a blur of terror. The scratching, constant. The clock, chiming at impossible hours, 3:17 a.m., 11:02 p.m. With each chime, a cold spot formed somewhere in the house. Touch it, and your skin went numb, smelling of damp earth and rot. Then the deaths began. Old man Henderson, found drowned in 6 inches of creek water. Smiling. The Carson girl locked herself in the root cellar, screamed for 12 hours. They found her with her own claw marks on her arms. Eyes dry as stones. The hollow was infected. The thing from the rest area was no longer a passenger. It was the landlord. And it was collecting rent. It whispered to the lonely, the sad, the worn thin, showed them the pit in mirrors, offered the cold water as relief. 5 more followed. A mechanic, a waitress, 2 teenagers, a widow. Each death called a suicide, an accident. The world is blessedly blind to true horror. The worst was what it did to Daniel. He started sleepwalking. Standing for hours, facing the wall, Chloe climbed, mumbling coordinates. One night, I woke to the bed shaking. I reached for him. His side was empty. He was in the corner, head pressed hard into the walls, fingers scraping slowly down the wallpaper. Scritch, scratch. Scritch, scratch. Daniel, he turned. His eyes were open. Black. Liquid. Reflecting nothing. A smile stretched his lips, perfect, horrible, identical to the one on Henderson's drowned face. Emilia, his voice was a grating chorus. Henderson, the Carson girl, the others. The hollow is hungry. It needs a new heart. Chloe was an appetizer. I screamed. He collapsed. Remembered nothing but a dream of deep cold water and a voice saying, "Come home." We fled Briar's hollow the next morning. We took Chloe, frail but herself. We moved across the country. Changed our names. Daniel and I, we didn't survive. The crack that thing left in us, love couldn't seal it. We separated. I live in a city now, surrounded by light and noise. I thought I was safe, but the geography of hell is not bound by maps. Last month, the new tenant in my building mentioned he drove through the Blue Ridge on his way here. Stopped at a rest area by a creek to stretch his legs. He's changed. Quiet. Skin gray. Last night, passing his door, I heard it. A faint, wet scratching from within. And my bathroom mirror, for just a second, showed a dark, still pit. It's not done. It's following the trail, learning the shape of the new hollows we build, and it's always collecting rent. This is the story of the hollowing at Turner's Pass. It is not a ghost story. It is an eviction notice. The most dangerous evil does not haunt a house. It haunts a route, a path, a decision you made once in a tired moment at a lonely place. It becomes a tenant in your life, then it becomes the landlord. So listen closely. If you ever travel a lonely road and the rest stop feels too quiet, if the silence feels like it's holding its breath, keep driving. Some places aren't just haunted. They are contagious. And some curses don't follow people. They follow the road home. If you have a story that haunts you, send it to contact.thedreadcodex@gmail.com. Your truth becomes our tale. Your likes and comments keep these stories alive. Until next time, may your mirrors only show your own face. May your road have no empty places. Good night.